Hey, we just saw the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Got Johnny here. And, well, I'm really glad they postponed this movie to February so we could have Carrey. Yeah. But first, I want to show you my new Fitbit Versa 2 SE. I just got it from Verizon and... What?
Oh, I'm gonna get you because I've been using that Fitbit to help me do my cardio. I've been tracking my heart rate, counting my steps, and monitoring my sleep. What happened to you, Sonic?
Listen, I just thought your stylish woven band Versa 2 would help me lose a bunch of weight. I put on a few pounds after they redid my CG for the new movie. It was a really depressing time. So how do I get my own Versa 2?
By checking out today's sponsor, Verizon's special offer, click the link in the description, fill out your info, find an item to purchase, and the first 100 purchases will get a free gift that's perfect for AVGN fans. The all-new 8-disc AVGN Blu-ray collection and a signed poster.
That's way past cool.
It seems so, but it's only for US residents at the moment. It's shipping in late February.
Okay, so can you help me up? James? James?
All right, so what'd you guys think?
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
I thought it was okay. I thought as a longtime Sonic fan, it was everything that it could have been without being an absolute dumpster fire of a film, considering the rough development in the coming months in 2019.
Meow?
Everyone makes a joke about like Sonic having a rough reputation in the mid-2000s when it's jumped to 3D and all that sort of thing. So now like it's his first live-action adaptation. We got to get it right the first time. We get this god-awful design in like the opening months. It's like, oh god, they're not listening to us at all. Then they redesign it. It comes out. It was enjoyable. As far as kids' films goes, I thought it was a perfectly enjoyable film.
Yeah, like I sensed so much negativity about it. Like I didn't want to review it, to be honest, because I just felt like it was going to be more of like an obligation because it's a major video game franchise. It's like, oh, you got to review the Sonic movie, and I just wasn't really that interested in it. And I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's not like anything groundbreaking. It's not going to change your life or anything, but it's a good, fun movie.
Yeah, it's a little cliche. I mean, a lot of people see me as a contrarian on this show and kind of a dickbag, but, you know, I think it's definitely decent. It's definitely good for, like, you know, your kids and middle schoolers and all that. I know Ryan brought his daughter to see it, and she she liked it, but her Sonic experience is mostly, like, Sonic Mania, not really a lot of the older stuff, so...
Yeah, that was a major plus for me, too, because I didn't even think about it, but I went in to see it just assuming that it was made for people our age. I didn't really think about it, but as I was watching it, I was like, you know what? This movie is relatively clean, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is PG. I could show my kids this. This is great. So I thought that was a plus that they made it for a wide range of audiences.
It's doing really well. I mean, I think it's the largest grossing video game movie like weekend ever.
Oh yeah,
like
cool.
I think Detective Pikachu's now second, but that also you know went up against like Endgame and.
Yeah, I do got to say that. In the grand scope of video game movies, you know, like the bar has usually been set pretty low.
Yeah.
This is one of the better ones I've seen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely better than Super Mario Brothers in terms of the source material.
That's a very low bar, though. Let's be real.
Well, no, I mean, I've defended that on rental reviews.
Yeah, there's some defenses for it, but I know what you mean. Yeah. There's been a low standard for video game movies, but I do think this is, regardless, a pretty good. Just, you know, fun, action, family-friendly movie.
Well, I think in terms of, I think a lot of people really liked this because of, a lot of people went in with low expectations, especially considering the first trailer. Yeah. You had the Gangster's Paradise music, you had the bad look of Sonic, and because they listened to the fans and they kind of like, you know, amped it up, I think a lot of people are kind of dismissing its...
And so much time has passed, I don't remember what Sonic looked like in the first trailer.
Oh,
I don't remember.
I know bad memory.
Yeah, I mean, well, I did a video with Mike about it, and I don't even remember because I didn't care. But
I think you said this looks kind of crappy. The whole movie should be 3D animated. I think that was the.
Well, we can get into that soon, but I have to commend them though. I have to commend them for. I I mean, I don't think they should do this all the time, but I think it was great that they listened to the fans and were like, okay, we're going to fix it, you know? That was a good thing.
I know Cats 2019 tried to fix it in post by like where they sent new data to the movie theaters on like the hard drives, the digital projectors. Yeah, it got movie DLC, and that was messy.
So was that Cats based on like the
play? Yes.
Yeah. Another thing that's been going around is, unfortunately, the VFX studio that was responsible for the redesigns, they got laid off.
Really?
A couple weeks before Christmas, after I guess everything was done in post, and it's kind of a weird thing because wow, that really sucks. It's like I don't know exactly how I feel like I want to enjoy the movie, but now I kind of have that niggling in the back of my forehead, just thinking about this looks really great. But people lost their jobs immediately after this, and it's kind of a tricky thing to discuss when it comes to that. Because, I mean, do you like the film after that? I mean, can you say, "Yay, I hope this movie does well," and also, I hope those other people found their jobs? It sucks.
I went to school for 3D animation, and I still have a lot of friends in the field, like even Yoshi Vu, who helped us with a lot of stuff before. Those guys get treated like crap all the time. Any movie, any commercial, the VFX guys get thrown under the bus.
I've known many who worked in the industry and told me stories. Yeah, I mean,
it's a shame.
Yeah. So Sonic in the movie is depicted the way you'd imagine Sonic, pretty much. And I really liked his personality. I thought it was really charming. He's funny. What I really liked was how he's so excited all the time to see stuff, and he wants to do a bucket list. Doesn't know what a bucket list is,
right?
And it's kind of relatable because whenever you find yourself in a city or someplace that you're not used to, you get kind of excited, like, oh yeah, I want to go and see this and that, and there's never time to see anything unless you were Sonic. It's like everybody dreams of being like Sonic, where you could just dash around, do everything you want.
But then Sonic just hangs around the same city in Montana, Green Hills, all the time. He's not used to the rest of the world, and that's a whole sticking point of the whole movie, where he doesn't know where San Francisco is, but he zips around at light speed in this one small town, so it's weird.
He just needs direction. He just needs to be like, hey, well, we're at San Francisco. Well, it's the West, okay? Oh, I just ended up in the ocean. You need to tell. He doesn't know about Paris or, Italy. He's just never been around. I don't know.
I mean, I guess because he is a kid in this, but I felt his whole arc, from me liking Sonic, especially the Saturday morning cartoon and the games and the comics and stuff, he should start cocky and I don't need help and then learn humility, and it was the opposite in this movie.
Okay.
He started out sad and became friends in the end, which I don't think was right, but it's fine.
It is a different take of the character, because normally in Sonic early games and the modern adaptation, he is a very carefree spirit. He just goes where the wind takes him. He's always helping people in need. And this one, he's very emotional. He's very self-aware of how alone he is, and that kickstarts the whole plot of the movie. He runs in circles in a baseball field and causes a huge outburst. And it's so weird because normally you associate that with his buddy Tails, who's started as a young age being bullied, and then found Sonic one day, and they became buddies because he was no longer alone. Now they did it with Sonic, and it's more relatable. Definitely, I think that's why I don't mind it so much, because I'm pretty sure there are kids of all ages that feel the same way. It's oh, I'm really alone out there. I just want to hang out with someone, get a high five.
That's a good point, and that's something Ryan brought up to me, where he's pretty much saying that it really works for a middle school or an elementary school, like what they're going through emotionally. Is what Sonic kind of feels. And if you're trying to, if you think this movie's going to have the cat and all these other type of characters, it's not. It's kind of setting it for a new audience.
You want to talk about Jim Carrey, since it is February?
Yeah, Jim Carrey was...
Wow, he's back.
Yeah.
Oh boy, he's back.
I was going into this, leading up to this movie, hoping that he would be the best part of the film. He is the best part of the film. Yeah. I love Jim Carrey. I've been familiar with him, I want to technically say since In Living Color. I have very faint memories of that. But Ace Ventura, I'm beyond the rest is history, and he's pretty much the same as I remembered him in the 90s.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be any happier.
He definitely feels, especially after, Man on the Moon and Eternal Sunshine and all his, other public stuff. He kind of went a little off the rails there from what we knew in the 90s.
And he obviously made some great stuff, which we talk about this month.
But this is definitely the Riddler style Jim Carrey, just a little toned down. Yeah. I don't know if Robotnik gets its own, this feels like Robotnik compared to you know, just Jim Carrey trying to do that. Like, it doesn't feel like a robot. Because
I compare that to, I mean, it's very similar to the Riddler, like you mentioned. In the Riddler, in Batman Forever, you know, he plays a villain who's an established franchise villain, but he brings Jim Carrey into it, like where he's pretty much being Jim Carrey, but it's been so long, I just missed it, and I was really glad to see him back in full Jim Carrey form.
For this, I don't know if they really nailed down the Robotnik compared to the evil Robotnik that I like from the cartoon and the comics, like Endgame and all that kind of stuff. This was more of a slapstick Jim Carrey. I mean, you know, the director, what's his name? Jeff Fowler's his directorial debut. Clearly, he like you know, Naked Gun and stuff because they show Naked Gun in the movie and a still and stuff like that. So Carrey's more slapstick, but not like, I don't know, like they're almost trying to make him like an Elon Musk kind of a, you know, like outlandish kind of villain. Like he's a modern tech guy who kind of goes off the rails. So I don't know, like he doesn't feel like he has his own character per se. He just feels like Jim Carrey acting rather than.
Well, what'd you think? Like,
not yet exactly. Like there is one thing that they do highlight, and he's a very eccentric man. Like I think like the throwaway line where he mentioned like he was an orphan at a very young age, and then like, he was bullied, but he always had a very vast intellect because that's always a big character of Robotnik. And I want to say it's something they highlight more in later games where there is a bit of craziness to Robotnik, like because he's pretty much a humongous child at heart. And to me, if you're going to cast anybody for that role that can emulate that well, it is Jim Carrey, and I feel he did that really well. Unfortunately, one thing that I feel that I mimic a lot in critiquing this film is that they plant seeds that gets me more excited for the sequel rather than the movie itself.
I agree.
Yeah.
And how crazy Jim Carrey gets as Eggman, I wanted to see more of in this film instead of just like being like a teaser for him.
Separate.
Oh, it's weird.
Eggman is what he's called in Japan. He was always Eggman since the first game. We in the West called him Robotnik because I thought they probably thought it was too silly or some other things. Starting with Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast, they started like mixing the two, and
both,
then they just forgot Robotnik altogether and just call him Eggman.
Me, I'm definitely a Robotnik guy. Oh, so pretty much Robotnik calls himself Dr. Robotnik, and like the Freedom Fighters ever call him Eggman to make fun of him.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool justification in the context of this film that I really like. You know, because Sonic in this movie has a penchant for giving people nicknames. So he calls James Marsden's character Donut Lord. He calls his wife Pretzel Lady, and there's Crazy Carl, I think, with a chainsaw. But then later on, he uses that same naming convention to call Robotnik Eggman because his Tesla robots look like giant eggs.
And I think, Tesla robots.
I think that's a really cool like work in from like the video game continuity. It's very subtle.
His tech kind of looks like the turrets in Portal. They kind of have that kind of a look to them, which is interesting.
The Guardians, the flying Guardians in Zelda Breath of the Wild. Has like those red beams, those lasers.
Yeah, where they kind of lock on you. Yeah, they kind of. There's a lot of mix of his stuff. I like it because it's kind of like you can see it happening or not. It's weird that it's funded by taxpayers, but I guess Dr. Robotnik in the comic kind of started out as like kind of like he was working for Mobius or whatever, and then became a bad guy. So I guess they're going off that, and especially with how it ended. Not to get into spoilers, but I like when he turns into actual Robotnik.
I was going to bring that up. So, I mean, and this isn't a spoiler or anything, but it's just like that he doesn't look like Robotnik much until as the movie goes on. And then in the very end, he finally has the real mustache from the games. And I'm like, wow, he actually really resembles the character that I know now and wasn't even expecting it. And I just wonder, why couldn't they have him look that way the whole movie?
Well, that's kind of what Johnny's saying, is that the sequel is going to be way better than this one because you have all the established things that you want. Yeah. This is clearly like an origin story. Like Sonic didn't know how to spin dash when the movie started.
Unless people got so underhyped for this one and they're going to get overhyped for the next one, that could sink it because a lot of times, as we learned, a lot of things have to do with audiences' expectations. Yeah, I mean, this one kind of like put out low expectations but it delivered. Now, I do like the way this turned out, but I just have to comment on this trend I'm noticing, especially with the Pikachu movie, which we reviewed last year or whenever that was. how they have to set everything in the real world. And even though Sonic was still the center of attention, I feel like, is there a fear that if they don't put human characters into it, I mean, I know Robotnik is a human character, but like they always have to put in like people to make it more relatable, I guess.
I think it's to get more people in the box office because you see these actors and Jim Carrey and all that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm guessing, is just that they must have some data or some...
It's also easier because imagine your budget. It's like, oh, I want to go to Sonic's... Like Tony was telling me earlier, like, you're like, oh, wow, Sonic came from this awesome, magical, really cool world of loops and just like the game and all this stuff. Oh, just throw him into the woods. Film it in there. Like, just film it in Vancouver. Yeah. Whatever. Like, that's kind of what it turns into all the time.
It starts out, like, you see him going around the loops and he's in the world that you know, and then he gets put into the real world. And it worked out, but, you know, it's going with the fish out of water, buddy cop scenario.
It's so cliche it hurts. I mean, it's not like the other... you know, 3D films like Yogi Bear or whatever, which is a guy in a car, like Bullwinkle, like these awful, not as good.
Even though I wouldn't say it hurts, like I still enjoyed it. I thought they pulled it off pretty well, but I just once would like to see a video game movie take place in the world of the video game. Why is that not possible? I mean, the whole thing could be animated, you know.
Yeah, because Detective Pikachu was way more realistic Pokemon world. Like if Pokemon were in our world rather than... Because they made a new town, like Rhyme City, I think it was. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they did go the extra mile in, like, designing a whole new city for that movie, and it ends up being way... Because I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing, and nobody really asked, but if, like, we're comparing... Everyone's comparing this to Detective Pikachu, just not in terms of box office numbers, because of, like...
Not just me, then.
Like, I think like Detective Pikachu overall was just a better film overall because it has that real life setting obviously, but it does more with its aesthetic and design overall that makes it give it more of an identity. And
a lot of neon and stuff like that going on.
And it's just very congested. You got all these Pokemon all over the place, very true to the source material. Because the most disappointing thing for me about the Sonic movie is that it opens with that Green Hills shot. You know, we get this Long Claw character. They get attacked by echidnas from Sonic 3 and beyond. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. That's interesting. I want to learn more about that. And then he's back in Planet Earth for the remainder of the movie.
Yeah, he even shows like other worlds he could go to. And one looks like the Sega Saturn logo and all this other kind of stuff that are crossed out. And that's weird too, is Sonic's like, sometimes he understands the tech really well with the rings and how to use them and where to go. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he's super fast and can move like Quicksilver in like the X-Men movies where he stops time and all that kind of stuff. Other times he gets shot by a tranq dart, which should be really slow for him. You know, it's kind of all over. It's kind of
very inconsistent.
Jumbled.
It's really inconsistent with his powers, and when you because without going into spoiler territory, there's a pretty big moment where they play up the intensity of the scene, and it's a big climax, but it's also like he should be moving way faster now than he was earlier, and this is like a more climatic scene. It's like, I don't know. Yeah. I guess like for the sake of storytelling and making sure the audience can follow along, you got to play loose.
Yeah, it is for younger audiences.
Yeah. Like when I was watching this, a lot of times I thought like, okay, there's some inconsistencies here, but how much do I care is the question. Because I was just like...
It is a kid's film at the end of the day. You know? That's why you don't get too into it.
Like you could rip it apart if you want, but I don't really feel like this movie is a rip apart movie. This is more like just a check your brain at the door.
Yeah, like I don't think I want to watch it again unless like when the next one comes out or whatever. Like
I'll watch it again with my kids, but
well, yeah, of course, yeah. But I definitely like when we're talking about Sonic Speed, how there's a part in the movie where since Robotnik's using like the power of his quill for some reason, he can move at the same bullet time. So when they're falling from the roof, not like spoilers or whatever, but at this one part, his ship's moving as fast as Sonic. Like they're interacting in the same like kind of continuum, which I liked. I thought that was interesting. And speaking of which, why does Sonic's quills have power and not like Chaos Emeralds? What's that about?
That's a new thing for this movie. I don't know what exactly they're going with it. Because I wasn't expecting them to go like bring all the 7 Chaos Emeralds in this movie at all. And I thought like the blue lightning was just like, like Flash in DC Universe has blue lightning. Sonic moves fast like Flash, so we give him lightning. But no, it's like a whole different energy source that Sonic has for this movie alone that he never had, to my knowledge, in any of the other games. So I couldn't tell you. It's just something for the sake of the movie. Just something he can tap into. When he gets really emotional, he only taps into it like when he gets really emotional. So it's like teen angst weaponized, and I hate
subtitle.
Yeah, I know.
Sonic teen
angst weaponized. Like maybe a subtitle for a sequel or some other thing. No, it is a very bizarre set of powers, but it looks cool. I think that's why they ultimately went with it. It's like it looks really cool. Sonic's eyes glow blue, his quills, and for what it's worth, it does. They actually do look really cool. The visual effects are actually really nice when it happens.
It is an interesting take on it if you're trying to keep away from the source material a little bit to get fans into it, because it's kind of hard making a live action movie after 30 years of built up, over how many comics are there now? Like how many different TV shows, how many games? There's too much Sonic.
It makes me wonder what took so long, to make this movie in the first place. Because it's technically not the first time Sonic went into not big screen.
I mean, I have the cartoons, I have the OVA.
There's the Sonic OVA. This was a 1996 release.
Oh, they should get Jaleel White in the sequel.
There was the fan film from. No, I don't think we count that though. But there's.
Which I think you're in.
Yeah.
The end of LeBron and.
I'm in it too. Yeah.
There was I think that's it though. Besides the television shows, I think the Sonic OVA was the only other time Sonic had any sort of movie draw. But that's it. After that, nothing for 20 something years, and I always found that really odd because people know Sonic. He's I think he's way more popular in the West and in Europe than he is in Japan. So you would think he'd be a box office.
I mean, considering that this did better than Detective Pikachu, and Pokemon arguably is a way bigger series than Sonic.
True. Yeah.
I think it's the #1 series in general.
Really?
Yeah.
From merch sales to there's so many games. It makes you think if a 3D Mario Brothers thing comes out, because I know they're doing the Nintendo Land or whatever and Universal and stuff, and I know they're talking about a 3D movie. That's going to be #1.
Yeah.
It's going to win.
I've always known it's the #1 franchise that I don't have a clue about.
What, Mario?
No, Pikachu.
Oh, Pokemon, yeah. Yeah, I'm
Pokemon.
kind of a Pokemon guy.
Yeah.
Johnny, as a deep Sonic lore guy, I guess. Well, more than James. Is there any references that you liked in this?
A lot of them are very subtle. You almost blink and miss it, sort of thing. One thing that got a smile out of me is there's a sequence where the power goes out in Robotnik's van while he's studying Sonic's quill, and he goes to the main breaker, and one of them is labeled Badniks.
Badniks, yeah.
I thought that was really cool. There's not much of it though until
I like when he's taunting the old crazy guy, and he has and he draws the Sonic.
I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Oh, you're anti-Sonic.
I never thought.
Man,
that
Sonic's a big meme, dude. You just gotta get over
I never
it.
thought. I suppose
it's kind of a problem.
Yeah, I suppose so. I never found that Sonic thing funny, so that's why.
I love the reference where they show Zillow and Olive Garden.
Yeah, you guys want to go to Olive Garden?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been.
James, would you like to buy a Fitbit? Oh wait. Never mind.
Never mind. Let's not complain about product placement.
Yeah, let's not.
But it is funny when you
Thanks
see
for
it.
the money.
It's a bad hill to die on.
But it is funny when you see it in a major big budget movie, and they didn't try to hide or anything. It's you should have their pasta or whatever.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I thought the opening and the ending were really good, so it doesn't really matter what happened in the middle of the film, in my opinion.
The 90% of the other stuff doesn't really matter. Yeah,
it was so top-loaded and so end-heavy. I was like, you know what, this is pretty good. It's fine. I like the opening where it shows the Marvel style with the comics, where they show all the Sega games.
Yeah,
which makes me want a Sega cinematic universe.
Look at all these franchises we have ignored in the last 20 years.
Hey, Nintendo's got to get on it because we need a new Mario movie, which I think they're doing. We need a Zelda movie, a Metroid movie. Nintendo has a whole thing.
Well, the thing is, Sega has more franchises. You could do Yakuza, they could do Shenmue, they could do Golden Axe, they could do Streets of Rage. There's so many things that I think they still own 100%. But no one's gonna watch that movie compared to something like this.
Not Sonic, yeah.
I have one complaint with this movie. And it's the same complaint I have with almost everything. But as long as they keep doing it, I'm just going to keep complaining about it.
Yeah.
Is the theme song. Where the hell is it? And yes, I know it's in there. That's the thing. It makes it hard to complain because they put it in there, but that's all they did, and it's like a piano
and
version of
it was at the
like,
end when they go back.
It's in a odd place. It's just like it's not in a place where you expect
it had a song in the credits when they were showing all the
at the end,
the pixel scenes, but it's kind of like a rappy, mumble rappy.
I mean, it was a cool song. It was like, you know, more poppy, but like it wasn't the Sonic theme. I mean, it didn't and I'm not talking about the theme from the game, like the exact like chip tune. I want to hear a cinematic rendition of it because that's always the appeal. Is like, let's hear the movie version of the game. Like, I'd like to hear what that sounds like with an orchestra, but they never do it.
Well, the movie opens with an orchestral riff of Green Hill Zone. It's only for like maybe 5 seconds though. And then it goes in, and then we got
like a subliminal,
a very subliminal, like there's a Sega logo. Here's the opening notes.
Yeah, like I'm not talking a nod to it or a tribute. Like, get the song and make it big, make it the center. Even if you have to wait till the end credits, because I mean now there doesn't exist. Beginning credits don't exist anymore. Now they just put it at the end for everything. Yeah. But still, that would have been perfect. That you know, the 16-bit part at the end, like you mentioned, that would have been a perfect place to hear it, and they didn't do it. And why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to get it in there?
You know, it's funny you're mentioning that you're not talking about like a direct, obviously, nod to like Green Hill Zone from like 16-bit or something like right from the Genesis. The opening of this film, this is not really so much a spoiler, but they take a song right out of Hyper Potions for Sonic Mania. It's the exact same song. Like, there's no remix at all. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, and it caught me by surprise. It's like, oh, this is like the opening of Sonic Mania because they're using the exact same song. Oh, that's very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. And I like those Hyper Potions guys.
Yeah,
Hyper Potions great.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's my complaint.
But speaking about the credits and also fucking VFX artist, I like how they're like, you know, Marvel movies kind of train you to stay till after the credits.
Yeah.
Which I always do anyway, just because I've always been like I like reading the names and I like, you know, digesting the movie in my head instead of just getting up and leaving to go to the bathroom. And yeah, there's no after credits thing in this. Like, sorry, there's movie, some credits, after credits thing, a little more credits, a little more, and then the bulk of the VFX artist, and then nothing, which I felt always kind of rude.
Oh. I mean, end credits scenes weren't a big thing until like recent history. So
yeah,
I mean, now they do it after like the. It's so weird how they just restructured movies. Like, okay, instead of a big beginning credits thing, let's put it at the end, and then after that there'll be like a post credit thing, and then the credit crawl or scroll happens. You know who actually kind of pioneered that was George Lucas. Star Wars just begins with Star Wars. There's no credits, and you know that the unions tried to sue him for it. I mean, I think they did sue him
because they want all their names in the front.
Yeah, and I think they even tried to sue one of the directors. I think it was Lawrence Kasdan, and George Lucas like paid for the director. I forget if it was on Empire or Jedi, but I think it was Lawrence Kasdan. So he basically, George Lucas just paid it all, but I remember it made him like really upset over like the unions and everything.
Yeah.
So, and now after all that time, everybody puts the credits at the end.
Yeah, George Lucas single-handedly made movies better and then ruined them completely. Great job.